This is the story of the untold Battle of Nama. Before we begin, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us to continue sharing the profound wisdom, insights, and timeless truths of the Bible. Also ensure you watch this video till the end to gain the valuable insights from Naaman's story. Let's get started. Imagine being at the height of power, wealth, and influence. Imagine leading thousands into battle, winning victories, and standing before kings with unquestioned authority. Now imagine that despite all of that, there is one battle you cannot win, one enemy you cannot defeat, one affliction that no amount of money, strength, or status can remove. This is the story of Naaman, a Syrian general feared by his enemies and respected by his nation. He had everything, except his health. Beneath his shining armor, beneath the glory of his victories, his body was being eaten alive by leprosy, a disease that not only destroyed the flesh, but brought shame, isolation, and a slow, painful death. But his healing would come, not through war or wealth, but through an act of faith so simple that his pride almost made him walk away from it. Naaman's story is not just about a miracle. It's about how God often works in ways that offend human pride. It's about obedience, humility, and the unexpected paths God uses to bring restoration. And by the end of this story, you will see why Naaman's journey is one that speaks to every single one of us today. Naaman was no ordinary man. He was the commander of the Syrian army, serving under the powerful king of Aram. His victories on the battlefield were legendary, and his reputation stretched far beyond his homeland. The Bible describes him as a great man in the sight of his master and highly regarded. He was not just a soldier, he was a national hero. His strategies had brought Syria great success, and he walked with the confidence of a man who had never tasted defeat. But beneath all of that, his body carried a secret. He had leprosy. Leprosy in ancient times was one of the most feared diseases. It was a slow, relentless condition that deteriorated the skin, nerves, and limbs. It was often seen as a sign of divine judgment, and those who suffered from it were forced into isolation. Though Naaman was still in command, his future was uncertain. There was no cure, no escape. His strength could win battles, but it could not fight off the disease creeping through his body. Hope, however, came from the most unlikely of sources, a young servant girl from Israel. Among Naaman's household was an Israelite girl who had been taken captive during one of Syria's raids. She was a slave, a foreigner, and seemingly powerless. But she carried something far greater than any army or wealth. She carried faith. Instead of harboring bitterness towards Naaman, she spoke up with confidence, saying to his wife, "If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy." Her words carried certainty. She did not say Elisha might be able to heal him. She said he would be healed. This girl, nameless in the pages of Scripture, stands as a powerful reminder that faith is not about position or power. It is about knowing who God is. Her voice, though small, would change the course of Naaman's life forever. Desperate for a cure, Naaman listened. He took the matter to his king, who, eager to see his top commander healed, sent him to Israel with letters of authority and extravagant gifts, gold, silver, and fine clothes. He was ready to pay whatever price was necessary for his healing. But what he did not know was that God does not work on human terms. When Naaman arrived in Israel, he expected a royal welcome. He first went to the king of Israel, who panicked at the request, believing Syria was looking for an excuse for war. But soon, word reached the prophet Elisha, who sent a message. "Have the man come to me, and he will know that there is a prophet in Israel." Naaman arrived at Elisha's home in his chariot, prepared for a dramatic healing encounter. Perhaps he imagined a grand ceremony where the prophet would call upon his God in a spectacular display. Instead, Elisha did not even come out to greet him. He simply sent a messenger with a command. "Go, wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will be restored." Naaman was outraged. This was not what he had envisioned. He had come expecting an encounter worthy of his status. Instead, he was being told to wash in a river, an ordinary, unimpressive river. Are not the rivers of Damascus better than all the waters of Israel? Couldn't I wash in them and be cleansed? His pride nearly cost him his healing. This is where Naaman's story becomes deeply personal. How often do we come to God expecting Him to work in a way that suits us? How often do we place conditions on our obedience? Naaman was willing to do something grand, something difficult, something that matched his own greatness, but he struggled with something simple. God's instructions do not always come wrapped in spectacle. Sometimes they are as simple as an act of obedience. As Naaman turned to leave, his servants pleaded with him. "My father, if the prophet had told you to do something great, would you not have done it? How much more then when he tells you, 'Wash and be cleansed'?" This was the turning point. Their words cut through his pride. Naaman, the great commander, the mighty warrior, the man who had conquered cities, finally chose to surrender, not to an enemy, but to God's instruction. He went to the Jordan River, stepped into the muddy waters, and dipped once. Nothing happened. Twice. No change. 3 times. His skin remained diseased. 4, 5, 6, still the same. But on the 7th dip, something miraculous occurred. The leprosy vanished. His skin was restored like that of a young boy. At that moment, Naaman's healing was not just physical, it was spiritual. He returned to Elisha, no longer as a proud general, but as a man humbled by the power of God. He declared, "Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel." Naaman had come to buy a healing. Instead, he encountered the one true God. The lesson for us today. Naaman's story is one that echoes through time. It speaks to every heart that has ever resisted God's way in favor of its own. It reminds us that pride can keep us from our breakthrough, that faith often requires simple steps of obedience, and that God's power is not for sale. So many of us are waiting for a grand moment, a supernatural display, a dramatic shift. But sometimes God is simply saying, "Obey." The breakthrough is in the obedience. The miracle is in the surrender. Naaman's story asks us one question. Are we willing to obey God even when it doesn't make sense? If this message has spoken to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you want more powerful biblical stories that will challenge and strengthen your faith, subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. Thanks for watching.